So over the next few days, we had more drills, orientation to the academy routine, and issuing of dress uniforms. These, they were careful, fit well, unlike the fatigues. Oh, I also got issued new shorts and t-shirts as I went down a size during basic. Yeah, I really did not prepare myself enough. No wonder I struggled. Finally, the day came. Graduation. No, not from the academy, no. Into the academy. Basic training was complete, and we could finally begin our actual classes. We got marched onto the drill field where we usually practice, but today there was a band and a large stage, as well as bleachers for the parents and friends of the cadets. Yeah, this was Parents' Weekend, and while I had not had any contact with them, I knew they had to be there. All the squadrons were there, as well as representatives of the upper classes. We stood at attention while the old man ascended the podium.
At ease. First of all, I want to congratulate and welcome each and every one of you doolies to the Air Force Academy. Yes, doolies. By now, you have accepted that title as a badge of honor rather than an epithet, and I am proud to call you doolies now. There are fewer of you than when you started basic training 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks. Only 42 days. I'm sure to most of you that seems a lifetime ago. You've been through hell and lived to tell the tale. Most of you probably thought it was pure madness putting you through that. But as you likely know now, there was a method to our madness. Look around you. You'll see wolf, deer, lion, hyena, buffalo, bear, eagle, iguana, and even gopher and rat. What do you have in common? Almost nothing. Nothing, that is, except you are citizens of the United States. A nation unlike any other nation on this earth, founded on the simple statement that all peoples are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. You recognize those words, I'm sure. This nation was founded on the simple idea that all beings with intelligence deserve equal treatment, despite the clear inequalities in their species. That while the species were different, in the eyes of the Creator, they should be afforded the same protection. It is an idea that has been tested repeatedly. Only 150 years ago, this nation was torn asunder over it. Only 70 years ago, this world was torn asunder over it. It took people like you to defend that statement. People who gave the last full measure of devotion, who gave their very lives that this nation might live. To this very day, this world struggles with this simple idea. Even this nation still struggles with it, and rightly so. We struggle because we are trying to rise above what we were. Our minds allow us to do things that 10,000 years ago was simply not possible. We create music, sculpture, literature, universities, libraries, science. We've been to every square inch of this earth and beyond to even step on the moon. We've achieved heights of art, knowledge, and achievements that our ancestors could not even conceive. And we did that in brief moments of history, when we forgot that we are mammal, reptile, avian, when we realized we are more than our species, that we are more than this body of cells, when we realized that we are beings of spirit and light, and on that level, we have far more in common with each other than we have differences. Now, you may think that these last 6 weeks were made harder than necessary. This is not true. If anything, they weren't hard enough. They were made as hard as possible, and on purpose. You needed to work beside each other, struggle beside each other, yes, even sleep beside each other. You needed to be tested to the very limits of your body and beyond the limits of your mind. Because we needed to weed out those who simply could not live up to that simple statement that all peoples are created equal. By God, most of you probably can't stand the smell of each other anymore, having spent nights packed against each other covered with dirt and sweat. But you would do it again tomorrow if you had to. You would sacrifice your own life for the sake of the one standing next to you, despite their differences of species. And why? Because you have a common goal: to defend this nation and its ideals against all who want it to be wiped off the face of the earth. Over there, on these very grounds, is a monument. I want each of you, when you have the time, to visit it. Read the names of the people there. You won't see their species listed. That's deliberate. But look up some of the names in the public roster. You'll see their picture there. Each of those people were cadets here. Each of them graduated. Each of them gave their lives for the sake of this nation. Each of them helped pass to the idea that what we hold in common is far more important than our differences. And that is what makes us a nation. That is what this nation was founded on. That is why I am proud to call you Doolies. You are here to learn to lead others against a world that still doesn't know how much we have in common. We still think that species define us. It is our ideals that define us. What we live for. What we are willing to die for. That is what makes us one people. That is what makes us citizens of this great nation. Your job is to teach the rest of the world, by force if necessary, by compassion and heart if not. How much more can we achieve together as one people than we could ever achieve as separate species? Today marks the first day of that training. To lead the world into one where we no longer fight against each other, but fight beside each other to achieve wonders this world has never seen. Today, you receive your boards that mark you as a cadet in the United States Air Force Academy. Be proud. Be proud for each other. Be proud of this nation. And be proud of yourself, for you are the future of this great nation.
Squadron, present arms!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, arms! Right face!
With that, we passed in review, then lined up for our boards. We each cheered the others as they got their boards. My turn came about 2/3 through the squad. Two of the squadron leaders put the boards on my epaulets, and I saluted each and shook their hands. Then I saluted Lieutenant Sim and shook her hand.
Well done, Draper. Well done.
Funny how hearing those simple words from her meant so much to me. Once the entire squadron had received their boards, we were dismissed to find our families. Even as I began to walk toward the crowd, one of them ran out to meet me. It was Bobby. I was not expecting to see him here. He gave me a hug, then handed me an envelope. Oh, wow, he must really be emotional to resort to writing. He always was better at writing than talking, but when he writes to me, it means he is really at an emotional loss.
Dear Dipper, I wanted to let you know how proud I am of you. You're very strong and very brave, and I've always loved that about you. I have no doubt that whatever you've been through during training was really rough on you, but I always believed you'd pull through. I want you to know that no matter what, you will always have my support. I know you'll make us all proud. That being said, I want to share something with you. Something very few people outside of the family know about. Something my father said it was okay to tell you, and your father said it might do you some good to hear. Remember how we had that trip to Canada years ago and we saw the Aurora Borealis? Remember how I told you I always wondered what my Grandpa Bucky saw when he looked down at us? Grandpa served overseas like your father did, and like you will soon too. Unfortunately, he lost his life while on duty in Iraq. He lost it while saving the life of his closest and most trusted friend, a man named Marcus Ratcliffe. One day, just as the sun rose, he and his fellow soldiers were awakened to the sounds of gunfire. The troops were ordered to evacuate the area, but in all the chaos, Marcus had broken his ankle. Grandpa refused to leave him behind, though, and lifted him up and carried him out. This gave several of the attackers the perfect chance to do some damage, and they fired several shots at his back. Despite that, Grandpa refused to stop moving and kept Marcus out of the line of fire until they got somewhere safe. As Marcus was being tended to, though, Grandpa's strength finally gave out and he collapsed. Marcus questioned why he helped him, and his response was this: "My heart told me not to leave you behind, and I always follow my heart no matter what the cost may be." Unfortunately, his injuries were too severe and he passed away shortly after, but Marcus didn't leave his side until he drew his final breath. While overseas, I'm sure you'll make at least one new friend. If that fur ever feels lonely, nervous, or even scared, I want you to promise me you'll help get him or her through it. I don't know what's going to happen any more than you do, but I do know this. Overseas, your fellow soldiers are going to be like your family. Being there for them when no one else can be will mean the world to them, and I guarantee you they will never forget it. You can do this. I believe in you. Hugs and love, Bobby.
I smiled, folded the letter, and put it in my pocket. Thanks, Bobby, and you have my promise. It's the least I can do for you, and others. Did you come with my parents? Bobby simply smiled and nodded. He then led me back in their direction. I saw them both waving as we approached.
Hey, Pooh, we're all going out celebrating. Want to come?
Sorry, I think my parents want to go out to dinner together. Catch you later.
Pooh?
Yeah, a nickname I picked up.
Well, I've heard far worse in my time. Dipper, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. Did you have any trouble during basic?
Dad, remember a year ago when you told me you had all these letters of recommendation?
Of course I do. I marked that day as the beginning of your adulthood.
You said one of them came from your commanding officer.
Yes?
It was General Frankel, wasn't it?
Dipper, I couldn't tell you that. Besides, at the time I asked you what... Oof!
Thank you, Dad. Thank you.
You're welcome, son.